In my constituency, Wajir South constituency, in Habaswein Ward, the report gives Birole, located on the outskirts of Karu location, and the coordinates are Wajir South Karu, latitude 0.914476, longitude 39,703.28. In Lagbogol South, which is still in my constituency, a place called Bojihumag and Abdullah Gulbeit, located between Lagbogol town and Lehele, and the coordinates are there. In the Jabula, also in my constituency, a place known as Baron location, located on the outskirts of Baron settlement. And in Dif as well, the coordinates are given in Ibrahim Ure Ward as well, Argani town and El Dule area, all in Wajir South constituency. In Wajir East constituency, LMD in Wajir town, Konton, Riba, Qorof Harar town, and Bera Hararisak, which also has the coordinates. In Wajir North constituency, Buna Ward is given in Buna Ward, there is the Salah Hill area, the Kenya Power Station site, and Malkasirir in Beramu location, also given as the ground zeros where this dumping of toxic waste was done. In the same constituency, Malgagufu Ward, Korosh area, and Harudera are given as the dumping sites. In Tarbaj constituency, Tarbaj Ward, 3 sites in Tarbaj Ward are given by the report as the sites where some of this was done, including Yupkona and opposite the Tarbaj AP camp. Also in Sarman Ward, we have Gosie, Farwale, Sofa, and Kokai Dam. Those, I believe, coordinates and sites given after the great work done by the Wajir County Assembly will direct anyone wanting to carry out proper investigations to the sites where they will be able to take soil sampling and also look at the massive environmental degradation caused by whatever has been dumped in those areas. Chair, I really appreciate this opportunity, and I believe that something good will come out of this. And for the first time, we believe, we have hopes that proper investigations will be done into a matter that has been on the lips of the people of northern Kenya, a matter of grave concern that has caused them so much torment, and hopefully we will be able to put this matter to rest. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. Mheshimiwa, we just want to assure you that this committee is committed to ensure that we unearth the truth about basically what happened. This is a sensitive matter because it touches on lives of people. This is not just any other inquiry. It is an inquiry touching on lives of people. That the conclusions and the findings of this committee might end up saving lives of people. So it is a matter that we are taking very, very seriously. I must say, of course, this discussion is coming at a very, very bad time when there is a whole national discussion around nuclear energy in the country. And obviously, such discussion does not inspire a lot of confidence in us with the preparations we've been doing to gear ourselves towards establishing power plants, nuclear power plants, because every other person's fear is that once we have the power plants, do we properly manage our waste? So handling this particular item is basically going to either inspire hope or cause more trouble to the public, inspire more lack of confidence on what really eventually happens with our discussions around developing our own nuclear power. We understand this is a matter that is said to have happened long time ago. There has been, of course, some bit of advances in terms of legislative framework and laws, like now the Nuclear Regulatory authority is established with specific mandates, but we must dig into the origin of this and solve this problem, at least inspire hope to people, so that then it may give hopes in what we are discussing in future as a possibility of handling our own nuclear power plants. So we once again just want to promise you that this will not be in vain, and we are going to invest our time and resources to ensure that the inquiry is properly conducted. So with that said, I want to invite the Governor of Garissa. Karibu sana, Your Excellency. We will. It is your time to make any submissions that you think they are going to help this committee make progress with this particular inquiry. Every other person's fear is that once we have the power plants, do we properly manage our waste? So handling this particular item is basically going to either inspire hope or cause more trouble to the public, inspire more lack of confidence on what really eventually happens with our discussions around developing our own nuclear power. We understand this is a matter that is said to have happened long time ago. There has been, of course, some bit of advances in terms of legislative framework and laws. Like now the Nuclear Regulatory Authority is established with specific mandates. But we must dig into the origin of this and solve this problem, at least inspire hope to people, so that then it may give hopes in what we are discussing in future as a possibility of handling our own nuclear power plants. So we once again just want to promise you that this will not be in vain, and we are going to invest our time and resources to ensure that the inquiry is properly conducted. So with that said, I want to invite the Governor of Garissa. Karibu sana, Your Excellency. We will. It is your time to make any submissions that you think they are going to help this committee make progress with this particular inquiry.
And dear members, for bringing this to the fore. I wish to add my voice to the Honourable Member of Wajir South and indeed support fully the submission he made about this matter. And actually even thank him for being or for initiating this whole discussion in the Assembly. Chair, I think it's my submission, of course, in standing with what has been submitted by the Honourable Member. I would just want to share with you a very brief report from the Garissa County Regional Cancer Center. The Cancer Center is a center that serves, is a regional hub which serves the counties of Garissa, Wajir, Mandera, Tana River, Isiolo, Marsabit, Meru, Embu, Kitui, Makueni, and even all the way to Somalia and beyond. People come from all those parts of the country and also outside the country. And what we have been told so far, since we actively started the Cancer Center into operation in 2023, the cancer numbers, as far as I'll be submitting this report to you officially in writing, but in 2023 we had 440 cancer cases. In 2024 we had 1,347. And as of now, about 650 before this year comes to close. So up to about June this year, about 640. That clearly shows the increasing number of cases, of cancer cases, Chair, indeed disturbing. And if we were to analyze further, as was mentioned by the Honorable Member, most of the cases are coming from the rural parts of the counties or the areas mentioned. And that's a very disturbing phenomena, why our rural population are suffering. And then we are told also one of the biggest cases of cancer is esophagus, which is basically a cancer of the, is it the throat? A throat cancer, basically. Now, what has that to do with really, could that be related to nuclear radiation? Probably so, because again, those people mostly drink water from the water pans, from the rains, leave behind some water in the pans and so forth and so on. Both by themselves as humans and also by the animals that they use. So this itself could therefore be a good indicator of probably the waste that has been dumped into the ground and therefore which could be causing the serious cases of, or the many cases of esophagus cancer. Other than that, Chair, I think, as I said, I will be submitting, or we will be submitting a formal report on this matter ourselves as a county. But let me say in brief, again, adding my voice to what was already said by the Honourable Member of Parliament, that this is an issue that really has haunted, for lack of a better word, the people of northern Kenya for many, many years. And every elder who lived from the years 80 or thereafter will tell you, indeed, there has been a lot of dumping done. But again, it can only be as good as that for the moment, given that we may not have, or we do not have any final or definitive investigation report done on the matter. But nevertheless, that is an issue which has been orally transmitted, a huge concern that has been mentioned throughout by the elders, that there has been injustice done to the people of northern Kenya, and the people and the government has done nothing about the case. So I think in concluding, my final point is that I want to echo the words of the Honourable Member, that we believe this is probably the first time we see some seriousness from the national government through your committee on this matter. And we hope and pray that we will move quickly into carrying out a serious investigation into this matter. An investigation, Chair, which we hope will include good experts, sincere experts who will not hide the facts, investigation that will be multi-agency to include all the departments or the institutions that relate to this matter, NEMA and whoever else that can come on board. And finally, Chair, also probably as a matter of priority, get on board a gentleman known by the name of Mr. Jirongo, if that is possible. Because I personally listened to him one time on TV talking about this matter with some degree of concern and confidence that dumping was done in northern Kenya. I hope and trust you know the man I'm talking about, or probably he can be informed.
Yeah, I do. I actually listened to his
Yes.
remarks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if we can also get that gentleman, because he bravely came out to speak about this matter without fear on open TV, that can only tell you, and he was talking like as though he was actually around or basically be in the know regarding the matter at that particular time, Chair. So all I'm going to say is that I think that kind of comprehensive investigation to be done, multi-agency, including also the county governments concerned, will be helpful, Chair. With my only final sincere request being that let's make it time-bound. If indeed your committee has bravely taken over the matter, Chair, let's have this matter, now expedited with speed, so that at least the people, because out there before, the concern was there, but the people were basically tired and they forgot about the whole thing, or rather were just could only be murmurs. Now that it's being said and we're being called, and we are now out there being, people know that we are attending to this matter. It will be a shame if it's not carried out with the speed, or with the speed that it deserves, Chair. I submit there. Thank you very much once again.
Northern eastern part of this country for the damage that has happened in your region all those years. There have been several leadership in our government, but unfortunate that this problem has persisted all through and to all generations. Really, it is so bad when people are dying. Out of the mathematics that you have given us, Bwana Governor, I was trying to add up from 2023, the way you have indicated, and as per the report from the Cancer Center, of 440, 1347 of 2024, and as per the statistics that, or rather the data that you got towards the end of June this year, 640 cases of cancer. When you total up, I'm seeing the cases of cancer as a result of this. If we are to conclude that, it is 2,427. And I think this one might be the leading in Africa, not only in Kenya. That is the cancer cases leading region is now caught in Kenya. And this is a concern that our government should take the right and appropriate steps to safeguard the lives of these people. We are losing lives, but to lose over 2,400, and it's something that you can control, I think we have a duty. And that is why National Assembly, out of the statement that the Honorable Member did request, we are trying to follow up this, and we shall take the appropriate action to make sure that we have done our part. Then the others also, the arm of the government, the other part, can do their part. So thank you, Honorable, Your Excellency the Governor, for coming. This is a serious commitment, and we want to thank you for taking that right step. As per Article 42 of the Constitution of Kenya, every person has a right to clean and healthy environment. And that is how it is supposed to be. It's our duty as the leaders to provide that. My concern is, one, these companies, do you have any name of these companies that were doing this dumping? Do you have any name that we can refer? Second question is that other than knowing that it's nuclear waste and toxic, do we know anything beyond there? Although I have seen in your report that you will want a scientific kind of research deeply on this, but is there any document of the same? Because that one also will guide us. And then the other part, which is a general one, and I want to agree with the chair, that it is not right when we are talking about nuclear power plant that we want to establish in Kenya, using over 500 billion Kenya shillings, while others are suffering as a result of the nuclear waste. Where is the logic here? Where is the balance here? I think some people are taking this nation for right. The value of human being is important than the business. We need to revisit this and solve this problem before we proceed with the other proposals. So I want to end there, Chair, as the other members can contribute also, and if I'll get something on top of that, I will still present that.
All right. So much.
Chair, you know, when Miguna was caught and exported to this place called Dubai or so, my biggest fear, personal fear, was that he would be injected with mercury. That was my fear. Sorry to get that example, but Honorable Chair, the northeastern region of Kenya is injected with mercury already. So you know with mercury you die slowly. That is what is happening. The numbers the governor has just been able to report to us is huge. And that is the data that he has already collected from their cancer center in northeastern Garissa that is serving the whole of that region. Honorable Chair, this is a global debate. This can be a global debate. And this is something that can even attract a scientific research, such that we are able to identify which places were polluted. And we link it with the current numbers or data that we are receiving on the cancer patients in that area. You see, number two, there is hopelessness in this region. They have spoken about this. And I know even after this, they will still say, okay, keep trying, but we are already beaten. And that state of hopelessness is what we want to address, Honorable Chair. I know even in future, I will recommend that you work closely with Honorable Ado in all the steps that we will be indulging ourselves into, such that Ado, together with Governor and anyone else in Northeastern, are kept hopeful that the government is doing something. Chair, Kenya is a signatory to several conventions on hazardous waste. One is the Basel. I think Basel one was held here in Nairobi sometimes in the 90s or so. There is also another one called the Bamako Convention. There is also another one, I think it's called Rotterdam, before the Minamata one came in. Those are conventions that Kenya has signed. And Honorable Chair, together with the article in the Constitution that Honorable Charles Cameron has been able to quote, the people of Northeastern need this government to address the issue of hazardous waste that has actually injured their labor force, the health of that part of the country. And mine, Governor, together with my good friend Honorable Ado, it is now good if we can broaden the network and see if we can even get into a budget of ensuring that there's a scientific research for us to pinpoint these areas that were turned into Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Northeastern. And Chair, I will request that this state of hopelessness is addressed by this committee. Thank you.
Let me start by appreciating what my colleague Mohamed Ado has done, presentation on behalf of the people from northern part of Kenya. Chair, my summary as usual, I only have very few words. It is so painful that we still sit up to now watching Kenyans die, watching Kenyans being affected, watching waste which are polluting the environment. Chair, with what Mohammed has presented to this committee, the issues of the waste, which are now also can be contributing pollution of the groundwaters, and probably even we might not have been told the stories of probably even many kind of unique bad diseases. I think it's a challenge for the committee chair. What do? Our colleague is seated here, northern part of Kenya, people are suffering. They have suffered. It's even unfortunate that chair, this, what Mheshimiwa presented through the speaker, he goes back to 1990. I think most of us were born by that time. But you can imagine as you sit here today, chair, how much has those people suffered without any help, and today they are seated here with us. Chairman, my first and my last question will be, how even soon do we go to that place? And the chairman, if the report which Mheshimiwa Ado has presented to this committee, if this is not going to give a permanent solution in what is happening to different parts of this country, then actually I don't know which any other result at all which is going to be acted upon to save Kenyans. Chairman, myself as a member of parliament from Nakuru, and I sat in this committee sometimes back also in 2017 when I was elected. These issues were trying to come up, but they did not come up in the way Mheshimiwa Ado has taken this matter with a lot of weight. Therefore, Chairman, what are we planning to do as committee? How soon can we go and try also to see what is affecting these people and which action actually should be taken? Do we sit in this committee, Chair, and read and finish this story today? That one would be a no, Chair. Therefore, it's a waking call that Kenyans are suffering, but what are we doing to save this country? What are we doing to save these people? Chairman, for me, I take this matter in a very serious way. I can imagine that it's Moha who has been elected 2022, and he is now the one who has raised this issue which has affected people for a very long time. Therefore, Chair, for me, I request members. Sometimes we say, let us put money, I don't know, for more research. What kind of research do we need anymore? This is true information. There's a governor sitting there to present people. There's an elected member of parliament. The big question is only, what are we doing? What are we going to do? When the young generations will be asking us questions, when we got a space to listen to this case, what did we do for these people? I totally don't even stand to say that I cannot push a governor to tell him to try to look for money, to look for researchers, to research on what? Kenyans are suffering. It is not the action to be taken. Which action is to be taken in relation with this? And who are these companies? I don't think the companies which did this, they live in a vacuum. They must be somewhere. There must be contact somewhere. Information about them is real. Therefore, we should ask ourselves, what are we doing? Do we have any, what plans do we have when we come to the matter of compensation for the people who might have suffered for a long time ago? Where do we put the word compensation to make sure that the Kenyans who have been affected by these dangerous chemicals, people just wake up, they destroy our country like that, Kenyans suffer, people start suffering from cancers. Most of the families right now, they cannot even afford food. And the cancer issue is rampant in the country. And these are just intentional. And some people did this in this country. No, Chairman, we must wake up and come up with a serious and a very serious solution in this matter. That's my position.
Thank you. Mheshimiwa, before you, we have
ambao alileta mbele ya bunge, na pia ni washukuru magavana mlioweza kuhudhuria katika kikao hichi. Hii inaonekana ule umuhimu wa hili jambo vile litakavyochukuliwa hatua. Mmetupatia nguvu sana kama hamjui, sisi kama wabunge katika bunge hili la kitaifa kuweza kulifanyia kazi swala hili. Kwa kusema kweli, Mheshimiwa Mwenyekiti, ni jambo la kusikitisha sana, ni jambo la kutamausha. Tukiangalia vile vifo vya watu ambao wamekwenda kushikwa na hili gonjwa la kansa, na taifa hili la Kenya linategemea watu kama hao. Pengine wengine hata ni watoto wadogo wameweza kushikwa na gonjwa hili. Hili ni jambo ambalo sisi kama wabunge lazima tulichukulie kwa hali ya juu sana, na pia kwa ustaarabu wa hali ya juu sana. Si jambo la kuchukuliwa rahisi, na kama viongozi ambao tumechaguliwa na wananchi, ni kati ya majukumu yetu kuweza kuhakikisha tumelinda wananchi wetu, na sio peke yake kwa swala moja au jingine. Lazima tuangalie kiafya, kimazingira, kimiundo msingi, na jambo hili limeweza kutupatia nguvu sana, tukiona viongozi wa kutoka sehemu ile ya kule Wajir, Mandera, Garissa wakija hapa, na tunaweza kusema hivi tukaona hii ugonjwa wa kansa tuseme labda uko upande ule peke yake, lakini inaweza kuwa hiyo utepetevu uliofanyika kwa kampuni hiyo pengine imetuathiri sisi kama Wakenya kila mahali tulipo, kwa sababu zile ni vitu ambavyo vinasafiri sehemu ndefu sana. Kwa hivyo Mwenyekiti, mimi pia naunga mkono na nitakuwa mbele kabisa kuweza kuchampion swala hili. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Mwenyekiti.
Thank you once again, and one thing I must thank you for is to the extent of even giving coordinates of the areas where you think these particular dumpings occurred. Not just mere data, but also by engaging people who say they saw. And these are the locals who saw this happen and were involved in one way or the other. Now, maybe from a perspective as an engineer, not now as a chair, probably make you understand the kind of problem we are dealing with, because nuclear waste is not a simple matter to deal with. And I just want to give you the decay periods for a few of the materials that are used for nuclear purposes, or what is referred to as nuclear waste. Because nuclear waste has a period to decay. And the period to decay is a time from when it is active to the point where it stops being harmful to people. And I'll give you an example of uranium-238. It takes, or what we call half-life, is 4.5 billion years. So the decay period for uranium-235 is 703 million years. The decay time for plutonium-239, the one now used for nuclear weapons, is 24,100 years. When was Jesus around? 2000. So one of the fastest decay in which is plutonium is 24 years, 24,000 years, meaning that how many times time Jesus was around? 12 times. So, and again, well, on that, this should never be rocket science to know whether or not there are nuclear materials that are still active. Because if they are there, obviously they are still decaying, their signs must be there. And therefore it is something that you can the radioactivity should be able to, something you can measure. And therefore we'll engage all their government institutions, even with the capacity to do this kind of tests. I do not understand why they have not done it before. And basically will be very, very procedural. In each of these sites where you have provided us, they will give us a specific output on whether or not there is activity there, and give us how they've measured the procedure on how they have achieved the specific results that they are going to give us. And again, if we are saying that there is a possibility of these materials because obviously they did not just dump them on top of the soil. If somebody did some excavations and they were not, these particular materials were not properly contained, it means that they mix with groundwaters, and the groundwaters are not stagnant. Groundwaters are also mixing with other things. It's a moving thing. Eh? So it means they can affect many people. And therefore, this matter is not just a health ministry matter. It is a matter that should have already attracted the military, should have attracted the Minister of Interior, should have a lot of interest, because it really is a security matter. We will be very interested to understand, obviously, how these materials came to be in the country, if indeed then the study or the report has established that these materials are there, because Kenya has not had nuclear power installations. It means obviously it was imported into the country and they were allowed to dump it from other countries. And there is no going to be any escape route to run away from responsibility, because we must dig to the source and understand how these materials came here. And like one of our members mentioned, that besides everything, that those who did this to allow, and also the people who imported the materials into the country must be held responsible. And this really, like I said, is really a very bad timed discussion, because how then do we convince Kenyans that we are safe with our own nuclear power installations if we can simply allow people to dump nuclear waste to our country? It takes us, we subtract a lot of bonga points from us as a country. And therefore for so many reasons, this is one discussion that cannot be left hanging. It is a discussion that must be taken to its logical conclusion to inspire hope for the next discussion. And therefore, those many remarks, just want to assure you, Governor, and the Honorable Member Mohammed, every person who is supposed to be a stakeholder on this matter will be called to this committee. They will do their part. It doesn't matter how many stakeholders will appear here, even if there are 100. All of them are going to appear before us, and everyone must play their role. And then the committee will, of course, have a schedule of activities, and we will be involving you. We will be keeping you updated on the progress of the committee. We will also want to gather as much information as possible and try to link this data we are acquiring about the effects to the dumping, so that, because that's the link we want to establish, that the increased cases of cancer in the region are as a result of something that cannot be the usual. It can be possibility of those dumpings and those hazardous materials dumping. That's where we want to really try to establish the link between the effects and the potential dumping. And like I said, again, since it is not rocket science, these materials are strong enough to be measured, then we'll also ask the institutions responsible to give us results, and then we can move together as a team.
What the effects? You know, these questions are very weighty, as raised by Honorable Ado. So if this is not addressed, then why do we budget for nuclear installation? Why did we allow that budget as a committee? Yes. So if there is a bargain that we can be able to allow the State Department or that authority, NUPEA, to tell us what is being raised by Honorable Ado, and we check on it so that we can have a research, because Ado is saying they may not be able to point out the areas in itself, although we have coordinates. Maybe it is a large area, and then we don't know exactly the extent, the magnitude, or the content of the dumping. Then NUPEA needs even to tell us how prepared they are in terms of handling this and any other thing that will occur in case there is indiscipline in dumping of this hazardous waste. And Honorable Chair, we need to hold that as a stick, because they already have the budget. And this, together with NEMA, needs to be undertaken so that we are moving together. Otherwise, communities even in Uyombo will say we don't need a nuclear plant here in regard to what happened to Northeastern. Nyanza is calling for the same. They want it to be brought to their place. People in that place will also say, no, handle the Northeastern issue first. Thank you, Chair. That's what I wanted to say.
We are doing an inquiry on alleged dumping. So the moment now we have established with the facts, because every sign points to the possibility of that dumping. The moment now we have established that this dumping didn't actually occur, and the institutions have not been able to do much about it, then it's going to be very, very difficult for the same team to explain to us how they are going to deal with similar situations. And if, for instance, like you've relatively mentioned it, if the institutions that are now telling us they can deal with any possibility when it comes, if we establish a power plant, we are going to give them a significant exercise now to deal with this one as it is right now. And how this matter is dealt with will also, like I said, guide on how we progress for the next items. So, karibuni sana, Mheshimiwa and Your Excellency Governor, if you have any responses to give or any further comments, so that we can close.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. You asked, do we know the companies? Unfortunately, we do not know the companies, just like we do not know the true detail of what was buried in those sites I just mentioned in that report. They were toxic waste, no doubt. Hazardous waste, no doubt. In containers, buried deep underground. When you talk to eyewitnesses, people who worked for these companies that were doing the dumping, they will tell you that they will be made to dig from Monday to Friday.
Yeah, we can interject. You are saying containers was buried.
Yes.
A whole container? Or they were pouring out of a container?
No, the material was in containers, housed in containers, metal containers, just like the ones that you use for shipping. So they were buried deep into the ground. We do not know, but cases of rich countries.
Objection on that. You know, Mheshimiwa, the way this nuclear waste is handled, the nuclear power plants, because obviously themselves they can also handle the material bare. So there is usually containers, and a long time ago they were never so serious with the kind of specifications for the tanks that are used to house this waste. The specifications have kept increasing on what really should would be the specifications for the package that houses the waste. Mm-hmm. And obviously, if it was a dumping, then that dumping was in some form of a container, and that may eventually have leaked, and over time, then causing the radiations around the areas. Mm-hmm. So the information you are giving is fair enough, because even without the specific coordinate to the last 1 meter, that radiation will be felt across a larger area, and with equipment to measure, you can be able to establish traces of such radiation. I don't think it is going to be very difficult. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. So as I was saying, the cases of rich countries, Western countries, using poor African countries as dumping ground for hazardous and toxic material is public knowledge. Only the European Union disposes of 90 million tons of hazardous and toxic material, including nuclear waste, annually. And tens of thousands of that waste, almost always, makes its way to African countries. If you look online, you'll see all the statements being made by environmental organizations like Greenpeace, calling for the UN to investigate, or for cleanups to be done in countries where the dumping of such waste has already been investigated and identified. What we want to be the outcome of this process is that if irresponsible Kenyans, once upon a time, allowed foreigners to bury such harmful, toxic, and hazardous waste in our midst, that we are responsible enough to say today that we will carry out remedial measures, that we will not only investigate to find out the true nature of what was actually buried, but also carry out cleanup campaigns to save the lives of many Kenyans. What we have in the northeastern and eastern, lower eastern regions, in places such as Marsabit, in constituencies such as North Horr, in settlements such as Maikona, is a crime and needs to be, the people need to be instilled with confidence that those in authority, including this August House, this very committee, are responsible enough to refuse the irresponsibility done in those years past. And I would like to echo the words of the Governor of Garissa, His Excellency Nadif Jama, that Honorable Cyrus Jirongo, former Member of Parliament and former Cabinet Minister, has information that might prove helpful to this investigation. Because if you watched his TV interview, he was very candid in who he accosted with the information that came into his disposal and what happened, and even a verbatim description of the discussions that went in between him and those in authority then. Thank you very much, Chair.
Governor.
Chair, thank you very much. Chair, I don't think I can or names of companies as requested, but I think the report submitted by the Honourable Member of Wajir South is a good starting point. It will not be good enough to speculate on such matters. This is a very weighty matter, Chair, and I think the best way forward is to quickly move into the investigation, Chair. Having said that, Chair, sorry, if you to look at, for instance, there was a recent KTN coverage which called, or which did some bit of research on this matter, titled "Desert of Death." Deserts of Death. They're talking about, clearly on these matters, and how they suspect serious, toxic waste has been dumped into those grounds, therefore affecting the water ponds, the water pans, from which both human and livestock drink, and thus affecting the population. Probably also is another interesting piece to look at, Chair, as you embark on the investigations. Finally, Chair, I think, as you rightly said, it's not something that should be difficult to test in terms of its existence, because, Chair, simple soil testing or simple testing of the soils should provide an immediate insight into the presence of the waste in the ground. Because, as you rightly said, it doesn't go out or fade out quickly. So I think that's also another starting point. And therefore, I think, Chair, what today, I think we can say, this committee is finally providing hope to the people of Northern Kenya. And once again, I must really appreciate this bold step. Of course, starting with the Honorable Member of Parliament himself for bringing it up, and for your committee to now convene this very, very important discussion, probably very timely because, as was rightly mentioned, there's no point of us discussing starting a nuclear plant in a country where we are even unable to know what has happened in the past to this kind of issues. So it's timely, and therefore, Chair, I really call upon you, as was requested by your colleague, our lady, that we move quickly on this matter. And in this regard, Chair, I want to offer myself as the governor of Garissa County as a starting point, Karibuni, as quickly as possible to Garissa, so that we can enable you to engage, to meet with local communities, local elders, public health officers, technicians out there, and people who are in the villages which are affected, the villages where most of the cancer cases are being reported from. I think that kind of visit, Chair, will be quite imperative as a matter of priority. And we look forward to welcoming you to Garissa in that regard. Asanteni sana. Thank you.
Chair, I think it is important for this committee to also to appreciate Honorable Cyrus Chirongo for being bold enough and coming out to an extent of saying that he confronted the second president of this Republic of Kenya over this nuclear dumping in that region. There are very few who have served in government that can open up and assist us with information. And my question, Chair, is that why is it the entire government systems have decided to hide this information all through these years? Who is behind this? Who benefited out of this? Who enriched himself out of this mess that now is killing Kenyans? Who came up with all this plan? Because somebody somewhere in the government misused that office for the sake of himself, and he has gained it for the sake of himself, and now Kenyans are suffering. So we need to get to know, and we want to urge each and every government servant who is serving in this nation, that whatever you are doing in those offices, at one time, you will be answerable, even if you are so powerful. Because this is a mess. Over 2,400 people who are now suffering as a result of cancer, just because somebody messed up this nation. It's not right at all. So we want to urge those who are in government at the moment that we are coming for these documentations. We want to get these informations. Get prepared, prepare those documents. We will want to get those documents. We want to know who are these behind, which companies were they, which country of origin, because we may be suffering, and the country that messed up with us are enjoying, and their people are just going on with their life as normal while we are suffering, and we are being killed every now and every year as a result of their work, which is, we are not going to support that. So, Honorable Chair, we will want to invite Honorable Chirongo Cyrus to appear before this committee, and we want to urge him to prepare, and because he's bold enough, please save these people who are suffering by giving us more information, including any person that he knows. He can come and share before us. We'll want also the CS of Energy with his ministry entirely, because they should take the responsibility on this. They can't tell us that they don't know anything. If you have taken an office, you have all the records. How are we going to save the lives of the people of the northern part of this country? The same as the CS in charge of environment and climate change. They have a question to answer, because that is the base of NEMA. They have to give us the information on this. Also, the Ministry of Health, we won't leave them. We want them to give us the correct data on this. How do you, if we are having over 2,400 cases, and we are not getting the concern in the ministry, telling us that they are Kenyans suffering over 2,000 cases of cancer. This is an issue of national concern. Why do you leave to a county alone who are suffering? This is a concern for all Kenyans. We want this one to come out with those information. I agree. Those who are concerned with information, very touching information, that is NSIS, they should get us this information as early as now so that we save the lives of Kenyans. The people from Northern East, we are with you. This committee is with you. We shall stand with you, and we shall move this way together. And I agree with Honorable Emate that the nuclear power plant that this country is trying to start or establish with the donors that are going to support us will not need those money at the moment. Let us correct it and save lives here before we move to the other one. And I want to urge Kenyans, even the people who are from the Nyanza part, that the Kilifi are crying because of this nuclear power plant, and the other region of Nyanza, you are saying, well, we are welcoming. Do you really understand? Or some people want to benefit themselves at the expenses of another generation. It's like in Kenya, when you are in power, you are in hurry all over everything. You want just to establish and establish. You don't want to check about the future generation. What is wrong with these Kenyans? What is wrong with these leaders? Everywhere, you want to look like you are working, but you are working on dangerous ground because you are not valuing about the future. Can we move slowly in everything that we do? Something that we don't have a knowledge, that is not originating from Kenya. Let us take our time as Africans. Let us not be misused. Slavery is still real. Thank you, Bwana Chair.
Those numbers, the 2,400, are those who have arrived at the Garissa Regional Cancer Center and are being treated there. A great deal of people in the rural areas choose to suffer in silence and don't come to the hospitals, mostly due to lack of knowledge. At the same time, there are those who choose to go to other institutions, health institutions, where a great deal of people are also taken for further medication abroad, those who can afford to places as far as India. So the number is much bigger than the data coming out of the Garissa Regional Cancer Center. Thank you.
So, honorable members and
You have given us a hope.
yes.
And as I said, I'm repeating myself, that this committee today is giving big hope to the people of Northern Kenya, at least to know what has happened. Not even necessarily for compensation. That can come much later, if indeed it has to happen. But first of all, to know what has happened and why this has happened. That's the biggest question. So, Chair, I repeat myself that we need this matter to be progress with the speed that it deserves, Chair. I'm saying this, Chair, because I was just looking at when this submission was done by honourable member. It was in July 2024. It's now 1 year later that we're discussing this now with the committee. Probably it's not the fault of this particular committee now. Probably the previous committees or previous chairs were not positive or proactive. But Chair, I think under your leadership, with these great members, I hope we can see some quick action in this regard. Because you have created hope, Chair. We don't want that hope to be lost, or the people of Northern Kenya to feel like it's just the usual story, while the suffering continues, Chair. Asante sana. Thank you.
We have agreed that there is no matter that can be a bigger priority, I think, across the entire parliament than lives of people. So you can take my word for it on behalf of the committee that this particular matter is going to be amplified by all means. And we will invite also our friends in the media to take this particular matter very, very seriously, because, like I said, we always investigate different types of matters that border on corruption and other different issues. But how we progress on this matter, we might end up saving somebody's life. And that is really gives it a different perspective. And therefore, we will give it all the energy and attention that is required so that we see it to its logical conclusion. And we are not going to leave any stone unturned. We are going to have all the players appear before us, and by the time we are doing a final report, we want to assure you that report will be something worth waiting for the people of Northeastern. So, Mheshimiwa, I was just about to adjourn the meeting, but if there is any small observation, you can take a minute, and then we close.
Yeah. So I want to let the governors and anybody else who has come to know that we are not, as much as we are interested with economic development of this country, by all means, lives means a lot to us. So as the chair and the members have said, we are trying even to bring the cases of cancer down. Already we don't have medication enough. People are dying, and we don't want to add to the many who are dying because of many other reasons. So, Chair, you have my full support, and I am sure out of those cases, women are not left out, men are not left out, and when men die, we have so many widows. And when parents die, we have orphans, we have children who will take care of them. We are not only concerned about the Kenya of today, we are concerned about the Kenya of today and tomorrow. So if our people die, who will take care of this country? So, Chair, let's do all that is within our reach to make sure that this thing come out. Thank you, Chair.
So, an inquiry so that we can understand the subject better. And therefore, I would like to give you, Mheshimiwa, a few minutes just to read through the statement as it is. It's brought to the House. Then after that, then you can maybe just a few comments. Then after that, then I will ask the submissions. His Excellency the Governor to give his submissions. Proceed, please.
Thank you, Chair. In April 2024,
More Radio, 88.2 FM.